What's up YouTube, Doa here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing an update to Unchained. That's right, we got the brand new support that came out in Duelist Nexus. Such a cool wave of support, and I can't believe that this card isn't a foil. Now, this isn't just normal Unchained, there's a lot of pure Unchained profiles out there, so I thought I'd spice it up and go with an update that I've done previously, and that is Live Twins as well. So Unchained Live Twins. There's a lot of synergy with the deck, and at the end of the video I'll show you a couple of combos as well, so you can get the idea for the deck. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So we start off with the brand new card. This is probably the most important one. The link is great, but this card is just absolutely insane for the deck. So this is a level 6, and it is an Unchained Soul, which is really important because that's the one thing the deck kind of lacked a little bit, is that all of the Unchained Soul monsters were like level 8s. And you kind of want to be able to get a card that's easier to get to the board, and this definitely fits the bill. So during the main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect, you get to target a fiend monster or a face down card you control. Destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. But while it is face up in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters except fiend monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard by any means, you can set one Unchained spell or trap directly from your deck. So that is amazing. The fact that it's a quick effect to be summoned during your turn or your opponent's turn gives you a free monster on the board. On top of that, if you're destroying one of your set cards, whether it be a trap card, whether that be one of your fiend monsters, they will then float into another piece that you may or may not need. So whether you only have this plus a trap card that is able to be an Unchained card, you're able to pop that, summon one, go into a link 2, and then of course this will trigger to set you a trap. So you're setting up disruption all from like 2 cards, which is really, really good. Then of course we do have the other one, which is the one Unchained Soul of Shima. Now this one isn't as great, but it's still a very good addition to the deck. So you get to target one card you control, you destroy it. Then you can destroy one spell or trap on the field. If this card is in the graveyard, you can target one fiend monster or face down card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. But place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. So again, it's really kind of cool, but it needs to be in the graveyard. So you've got this one that needs to be in hand, this one that needs to be in the graveyard, and there's a lot of ways of trying to get this to the graveyard, whether it be special summoning it from the deck and then linking it off, and you name it. Now the pair of these actually give you access to a really great rank 6 in the deck, and that is involving a bit of influence from Joe's DDDs. Then you can go a little bit heavier on the DDDs if you want to, and you can actually go over rank 3 and a rank 8, but the rank 6 is the base minimum we're going to use because we are playing the Live Twins engine as well. Then for the rest of the deck, of course, we are going back to the good old-fashioned triple Adruha. Now this just is the bridge between both the Live Twins, Evil Twins, and of course the Unchained Twins as well. This one is the one that lets you just pop any card you control to special summon it. Obviously it's not a quick effect, and that's where your Shavara comes into play, and that's going to be a little bit faster to be able to dodge certain hand traps and interactions, which is amazing for the deck as well. But then of course you're always going to need your Aruha to allow you to trigger your own card effect, summon itself down, and everything else. Now you'll see all of the monsters I've shown you up to this point are not ones you want to be normal summoning, and neither is the next turn of the next card of Sarama. So this is one that lets you reset trap cards, which is really important from grinding back some cards from the graveyard, especially when you're popping stuff with the Shavara. And again, it's not one that you want to be normal summoning. You very rarely want to be summoning out your Yugioh, which is why you can actually use and abuse the Live Twins, because that's really your main normal summon of the deck, and everything else comes from the Unchained Twins float ability. Now, obviously, if you are changing this deck out and you're like, I don't want to play the Live Twins, it's the reason that we put it in such a small engine, is it basically unlocks you with the ability to play more board breakers, more hand traps. I wouldn't put any more Unchained cards in general. I think you've got more than enough, and it's very consistent as it is. We've then got 2 of the level 8, so you've got one Unchained Soul of Disaster and then one Abominable Unchained Soul. So obviously you've got your aggressive floater, you've got your defensive floater, and the ability to kind of use it to link with your opponent's monster, but only during your turn. It's sad that it's not a quick effect. If it was, it would be 100 times better. We've then, of course, got triple Abomination's Prison. This is obviously your rota. So this is a way that you technically have 6 copies of your Unchained Soul Savara. So you add an Unchained card from the deck to the hand, and if this set card is destroyed by card effect, you get to special summon an Unchained monster from the deck. So the idea is that this can search this out if you need it, or in vice versa, this can actually destroy this and then special summon out another Unchained monster. So the deck really does get a heck of a lot more consistent with that, and it's a really cool addition to the deck. Then for the track cards, of course, we are playing maxing out on these. So triple Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. So you special summon an Unchained monster from your hand or graveyard, and then if this set card is destroyed by card effect, you get to special summon an Unchained from the deck. Now, obviously, this isn't your most interactive one. The better one, and again, I can't believe that this doesn't have a super yet either, is Escape of the Unchained. So this one is basically target an Unchained monster you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy both. Now, obviously, doing so, when you destroy your Unchained monsters, usually you're going to be destroying one that floats into another, and you're basically doing a 1-for-1 and then floating into a card that you might need, whether that go in for something like a Savara or pop the Savara to get you a set of another trap, or you're going to go for an Abominable Unchained Soul or one of the lower level twins as well. So that's it for the Unchained cards. I thought I'd go through all of those first, and then everything else from this point on, in my opinion, is flexible and entirely up to you as personal preference. So we'll start off with the Live Twin engine. I kept this at a base minimum. Now, you could play a little bit less if you wanted to, because the later copies of something like your Live Twin Leelas and Kisa Kills do become slightly dead. The idea is that you want to be able to make your combo, and then you want to be able to loop the Link monsters back from the graveyard. So if you wanted to, you could play stuff like Cyanide Mining. You could, in place as well, I'm playing triple Sunny Snitch, but you could also play triple Sunny Snitch and triple Password. And then what you're doing there is you're basically trying to play minimal copies of your monsters. So that as soon as you see one in your opening hand, that's it. That's all you need. You're good to push and keep going. So triple Leela, triple Kisa Kill, and then the one Frost. So Frost is probably the better one between this and Treat. You probably could play Treat as well, just so you've got the other name that you could special summon down. But Frost Graveyard effect to let you draw a card if your opponent searches is very consistent, and it always is going to happen. Now keep in mind, when you're playing these, you ideally, obviously, you need to have no other monsters. But the idea behind this is you can normal summon Leela, and then your opponent tries to imperm Leela. Technically, you could still get the use out of it by tagging it out with a Savara, but it would lock you in. So it would not resolve, but the idea is that you're able to kind of tag a lower level monster out into a higher level, more aggressive monster. It's not ideal, but it does give you a kind of option to utilize these should they get stopped. The idea is that you're going to be able to use your normal summon from one card of either a Kisa Kill or Leela, and that card is then going to bait out an interaction from your opponent, whether that be an Imperm, a Veiler, an Ash, you name it. And if that, as soon as that happens, you're good to still rock and roll, because everything else can then still be utilized. Not to mention, as long as one of these is left on the board, if you do have another card you can destroy, summon down your Unchained Soul of Savara, and then you've got the ability to either go straight into your Unchained Soul of Rage, because it just requires a Unchained monster, Unchained Soul technically, and one other monster. You then also have access to get into your Evil Twins as well, because they just require either Kisa Kill or Leela plus another, and that's where the Savara can come in very, very clutch. And then, of course, Frost, as we've already mentioned. Then, of course, triple Sunny Snitch. Now, this is actually such a good win con in time as well. A lot of people forget about this, but when you activate, you get to add a Live Twin monster from your deck to your hand. So technically, you've got 9 routes to a starter for your Live Twin normal summon. While you control an Evil Twin monster, each time your opponent normal or specials a monster, you gain 200 and they burn 200. So you're constantly doing a 400 life point swing, which is great during time if they're not able or not even paying attention to this card. So a very short, sweet, simple 10 card engine there. If you don't want to play this, then this is where more board breakers come in. You can play more consistency cards. You can even play more hand traps. Speaking of hand traps, so again, the ones that I've kind of gone with are Ash Blossom, pretty generic on this one. Double Ghost Spell could very easily be Imperms, and double Nib. So the one thing that I was personally missing in this build, and again, this is what comes down to personal preference, is I don't really have many board breakers. And what I mean by that is if my opponent sets up like a double Omni Negate board, it's going to be a little bit tricky for this board to break it. You're more so playing through it. So the idea is that you're trying to eat up an interaction on your Kisa Kill or your Leela to then activate an Unchained Soul and tag it out, still get some advantage from it in one way or another. then the final two cards is 2-pot Prosperity. It can very easily be free if you want to. You just kind of need to be a little bit careful because it does clash with your going first live twin play of going Leela and Key to Kill from the extra deck, and it means you won't be able to get your Leela, your Key to Kill draw. So that's one thing you do need to keep in mind, which is why it's something you might want to cut it. Again, it's entirely up to you. If you want more board breakers, this is your option here, or the live twins. If you want to go more pure, you've got a 20 card engine, even less so, to kind of change that around and adapt it as you see fit. The Unchained kind of lineup, in my opinion, is relatively staple. Like, through most pure builds, this is the base minimum that you're at least playing. I'm not seeing the continuous spell card being used or anything else like that. So it definitely is just kind of cookie cutter on that sense, and then you can build off the back of it and make it your own with either hand traps, board breakers, live twins, or any other theme deck. I did really want to go back to playing the Malice. So it's basically a level 3 Fiend monster that you can add back from the graveyard if a level 8 monster goes from, a level 8 Fiend goes from the field to the graveyard. But sadly, the new cards are level 6. If they were level 8s, oof, even better. So moving on to the extra deck, we are playing 2 of the brand new Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. I can't wait for the lore to be updated on this. I have done a lore video on the current Unchained lineup, but I haven't done it with the new cards. So I can't wait to see how these fit into the lore. So this is 2 Fiend monsters, and what makes this really good is as soon as you do your live twin combo of either Key to Kill, bring back Leela to pop a card, or Leela, bring back Key to Kill to draw, there are times when you're like, I've got an extra monster on the board, but I need to link one of these off so that I can bring it back and interact with my opponent. The fact of the matter is that this is just 2 Fiend monsters, so you just use one of your Unchained monsters and one of these, the one you're going to want to get the effect back off of, and you can go into your Lord Yama and still gain maximum advantage. So if this card is special summoned, you get to add an Unchained monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Nice recyclability. And then if a card or cards you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you get to banish this card and special summon a Fiend monster from your hand or graveyard. Then you can destroy one card you control. And obviously the reason you'd want to do that is you can destroy a card and that will then allow you to trigger out and get you more Unchained. But the idea is that this lets you float from the graveyard. It's constantly going to be banishing as well. And then it's always on summon. You're going to be able to get a search, or a special summon you get that search, which again is near invaluable when you're trying to get to your stuff like your brand new Savara and everything else. For the other Unchained, of course, we are still sticking with the OG Unchained Soul of Rage. So this is one that lets you link with your opponent's monster during your opponent's turn. And then, of course, we've got the one Anguish, which lets you link during your turn using one of your opponent's monsters. And, of course, the Mac Daddy Boss monster in Abomination itself. Basically, through its turn, pop 3. Other cards that can come off the back of the Unchained Soul of Rage is, of course, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Griffin. And what I really like about the Nightmare Griffin is that if you bring this out off of your opponent, let's say they put a Link 2 down or anything, as long as you put it with a Key to Kill or Leela, you actually get a draw and a recycle. Really nice. Speaking of the live twins, we are playing double Leela and double Key to Kill. Now this is obviously purely because I'm making it a lower involvement, but the idea is you make the first one, and now because you no longer need to get the 2 on the board and then link them both off to make either a Key to Kill or Leela to then bring back and complete the combo, you're actually able to play 2s and 2s rather than 3s and 3s. And what makes this really good is once you've made the pairing once, you then want to make or use the missing piece to go into an Unchained monster, and then you've still got that play to go. And then the only reason you're playing another one is you have the option to banish them off of Prosperity, or in the later game grind set, you can actually bring them back or make them again. And all you need to do is successfully make one of them, and while the other one is in the graveyard, you can loop them back and keep gaining your own effects. And then for the last 2 Link monsters, before we show you the only XYZ in the deck, we've got the one Muckraker, and we are playing the one Evil Twin Trouble Sunny, because this is very easily made. So 2 monsters including an Evil Twin monster, and that's the best thing about it, is technically you could use your Unchained Soul of Yama and the Key to Kill that you've left, and that can then get you into Trouble Sunny, which is really nice. Trouble Sunny obviously has the quick effect to tribute it to special summon back Key to Kill and Leela from the graveyard, so you'll get a draw and a pop. And you also have the ability to banish it from the graveyard and send an Evil Twin monster from your hand, deck, or face up from the field to the graveyard to send one card on the field to the graveyard. So you're just basically getting very nice spot removal. And then the last card we are playing in the extra deck is the Triple D Wave High King Caesar. So this is just generic rank 6 with 2 Fiend monsters. So, well, generic for Fiends that is anyway. And what makes this so good is when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated that includes an effect to special summon a monster, quick effect, you detach a material from this card to negate the activation and destroy it. Then you can make one other DD monster you control gain 1800 attack till the end of this turn. If this card is sent from the field to the grave, you get to add a dark contract. But the idea is, it's a quick effect and is not a hard once per turn. So you've got 2 basically solemn warnings off of the back of 1 XYZ, which is very easily summonable now because of Shyvana and of course the other brand new card that we got as well, your Sayama. So very easily summonable. You basically have the ability to bring one of these back off the Lord of Yama, overlay, and you go with this. And you'll see that in the combo that I'm about to show you now. So the very consistent and easy 2-card combo requires a popper in the form of Savara or of course Aruha, and then any of your unchained floatable spells or traps. So escape, prison, or of course chamber. I'm going to start with escape because this gives you your best outcome because it means escape stays on the board when you end your turn. If you go with chamber, that will be the one that stays on your end board as well. So you're going to start by setting the escape. You're going to activate the Savara. Savara is going to destroy escape, and escape is going to float you into a twin. You're then going to link these 2 together, and off of that, you're going to be summoning out your Yama. You're going to go chain link 1 Yama to chain block because it can be ashed as it adds, and you're going to go chain link 2 the Savara. Savara is going to set the abominable chamber of the Unchained, and then off of Yama, you're going to search either your Sarama or you're going to go for Aruha. Now, both of these will pretty much get you to the same end goal, just Sarama needs you to go that one. If you go for Aruha, you need that 1 additional step. Because the idea is your Aruha would then pop the trap card, it would summon itself down, the trap card would then float into Sarama, and then Sarama would then have the ability to target a card, Unchained card in your graveyard, accept itself, sit on the field and destroy a card you control. She then destroy the Aruha. So that's how you maintain your normal summon when you're trying to play around with the live twins as well. I'm just going to go over the very base minimum if you are playing pure Unchained, so this combo works for both types of players. So you then normal summon down your Sarama. You then get to use Sarama's effect to target the escape in the graveyard, and then you're going to set this on your field while destroying your chamber. This will then trigger Chamber's effect to float into the Sayama. You're then going to be able to link the Shyama and of course your Unchained Lord, keeping in mind that this is your soul, so this is the one that you do need to use, but this is also a soul as well, so either or will get you the same outcome. This will then let you get into your Unchained Soul of Rage. Now the best thing about this is you have the ability of the Shyama in the graveyard, so if this card is in the graveyard you get to target a fiend monster or a face down card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card but place it on the bottom when it leaves the field. Now at this point it's entirely up to you, but you do have a couple of different options. So you can trigger off the Sarama's effect as it is destroyed. You can special summon from your hand or deck an Unchained accept itself, and that's where you're going to want to go for your Savara as well because you want to be making your rank 6 play. Again, you can very easily go for something like an Aruha or a Rekia if you wanted to, and then you've got that ability to pop again during your opponent's turn, which is absolutely fine because you still have the ability of your Lord of Yama as well. So you have the ability that while this card is in the graveyard, if a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to banish it to special summon a fiend monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you can destroy 1 card. So entirely up to you. You can still do the exact same kind of outplay. Because we've got this, we can actually banish the Lord to summon out the Rekia. And the reason this is important is because then you can overlay these 2, and by overlaying these 2, you then get direct access to your Wave King Caesar. So from those 2 cards, which is very easy to do, you've got the Rekia, you've also got the sack trap card for your escape, so escape can actually pop the Rekia and then Rekia can float. You've then got 2 negates off the back of your Wave Hiking, and of course you've got the ability of Unchained Soul of Rage to tag into one of your opponent's monsters. Whether you're going to want to tag in and go into Anguish, or if you've maintained a card in your hand and you can tag into a Unicorn, or if they foolishly put a link to on the board, you could go into a Griffin. Just make sure that when you summon Griffin, it does need to be linked. So you'll need to make sure you leave a monster under a zone it points to. Otherwise, you're going to screw yourself over. So that's it, pretty direct for this combo. Now I'm going to show you what happens if we have this exact same combo, but we add the live twins to it as well. Okay, so I'm going to showcase the exact same combo, but I'm going to show you what happens when you add a live twin to it. So this is just how you can expand on the combo as well. Now before we even want to consider activating a Savara or escape or anything like that, we're going to normal summon down our live twin. You can use the effect to special summon out the missing piece, whether it be Leela into Kill or Kill into Leela. At this point here, what you want to do is you want to link to, and you're going to want to go into your first evil twin. Doesn't really make much of a difference what one you go to first. It ideally depends whether you want to pop a card or if you want to draw a card. So we're going to go for the Kill. Kill's effect can then bring back Leela. You can then link these 2 together, and you're going to go into your evil twin Leela. You're going to use the effect of this. You're going to bring back your Kill, and you're going to draw a random card. So there you go. Off of that one card, you've replaced itself. You've got this Link 2 setup going on. Now, keep in mind, it's not the end of the world, but you are locking yourself into special summoning fiend monsters, which is absolutely fine because that's exactly where the Unchained want to be. So now you're going to set your escape. You're then going to activate your Savara. Savara is then going to destroy the escape. Now, keep in mind that this can become, or either one of these can become free fodder, depending if you want to use it during your opponent's turn as well. You then trigger the escape of the Unchained. That's going to allow you to float into one of your monsters. So again, we're going to go for the Rakiya. Now, it's at this point, if you wanted to leave an Unchained on the board or even leave the Rakiya on the board, you can actually link any one of these off. So let's say we want our draw for the next turn. We'll actually use Kill and we'll use the Unchained Soul Savara because you just need 2 Fiend monsters. And this is going to get you into your Unchained Soul Lord Yama. You'll resolve Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. So Chain Link 1, again, we want to maintain our, or we've already used our normal summons, so we can't actually go directly for the Sarama, but what you can do is go directly for your Ruha. You then get to set off of the back of your Unchained Soul Savara, your Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. You can then use Aruha's effect. Now, technically, you could destroy Arikia if you wanted to. We're going to destroy the chamber, and this is going to summon itself out. And we've still got the floatability of everything else that we need, so we're now going to trigger the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, and this is going to bring out your Sarama. You can now use Sarama's effect. Sarama can either pop either one of these two, it doesn't really matter, they'll still float. So let's get rid of the Aruha, and this will let you reset your escape of the Unchained. So you're set, ready to go for the next turn. Now, in doing so, you want to trigger the Aruha's destruction, and you're going to go straight for your Sayama again. So again, you can see how we're going round and round in circles to get everything you could possibly need. Now what you're going to want to do here is, again, you've got the ability to link off, so we'll use the Sayama, and of course we'll use Yama, and we're going to go directly into our Unchained Soul of Rage. Now at this point, of course, we do have the ability of using Sayama, so Sayama can pop either one of these that hasn't floated, so let's get rid of the Sarama, summon itself out, and then trigger the effect of the Sarama to special summon out your Savara, overlay both of these, go into your High Wave King, ready to rock and roll. So you've still got that one card, so you've replaced your card of the Evil Twin combo. You still, if you wanted to get another monster back to the board, have the ability of using Yama. And on top of that as well, Yama could technically, so let's say we used Yama's effect when we destroyed our Sarama, it could technically bring back an Unchained Soul and then destroy the Rakiya, and the Rakiya could then float. The idea is, if you leave your board like this, what you're now adding to everything is during your opponent's turn, you've got the ability of activating Leela. Leela will then bring back Kill, and that will then give you a nice additional draw. You've got the 2 negate summons off of the back of your High King Caesar. You then also have the ability of activating Escape. Escape will then allow you to pop the Savara. I'm just going to overextend to show you everything you've got during your opponent's turn. Savara's effect will then let you float into the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. And then you've got the ability of Rakiya. Rakiya can then destroy the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. And this can then allow you to special summon out your Abominable Unchained Soul. In doing so, if it is special summoned, you get to discard a card and then destroy another card on the field. Now, because it says card on the field, you could technically destroy your own Leela. And the reason you do that is when you use Rage to link with your opponent's monster and go into a Unicorn, you can use Unicorn's effect to ditch and spin, and then you can also use Kisakill's effect to revive back your Leela. So now you get to pop an additional card. So you've spun a card, you've negated 2 cards, you've popped another card there, you've popped a card there, you've drawn a card there. It's absolutely insane. Not to mention as well, you also popped an additional card off of the back of Escape. It's crazy good and very, very fun. And because the Live Twin engine has been kept to such a minimum, you don't even need to go hard on the cards you need to get. It's literally just Leela, Kill, and then consistency to search them. And then your Evil Twin, Kill, and Leela from the extra deck, which has had 2 prints now. So it should be a lot easier for you all to get. Anyway, that is it for the profile. That is it for the 2 combos. So you can see the combo that is utilized in a pure Unchained version, and now you've seen a combo that is utilized in the Unchained Live Twin or Evil Twin version as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.